We're a 501c3 nonprofit. Our mission is to advocate for the Guthrie surname and preserve Guthrie heritage and lineage for our future generations. We want your kids and your kids' kids to know what Guthrie history is and the heritage. I want to do an introduction to the family of the clan chief.
So we're all great grandchildren of Colonel Ivan Guthrie, the 20th Laird of Guthrie. I started my middle childhood I had in Guthrie Castle, and it's great sadness that we can't visit that. And so Guthrie Church has always been a special place for all of us, and we're very keen to keep it going.
Yes, so just a quick intro, as Arabella said. Thank you, Arabella, and thank you, Breeze, and everyone for having us here today. It means a lot. So I have never lived at Guthrie, sadly, but my parents have actually just moved back up to Angus, so I'm now visiting a lot. I was there on the 30th of March, taking lots of photos and just checking on how it was all going and what's happening with it. So we've now got family on the ground up there as well. So that's really good. Obviously my mother and Arabella's mother and their sister grew up much of their life at Guthrie as well. So it's a very close. It means a lot to us, and so having a place that we can continue to visit as part of the clan means a lot.
So this is the same organization, Clan Guthrie, that tried to purchase the castle 40 years ago. Sadly, that didn't happen, and somebody bought it, and now we're locked out from visiting, and we do not want that to happen with the church.
Moving on to the Guthrie Kirk, which of course is why we're all talking today. It goes back a long, long way. So in terms of the parish of Guthrie, we're looking way back at around about, it first appears in written records in the late 12th century when King William I granted it to his Abbey of Arbroath. But there's actually evidence to suggest that it actually existed as a parish long before that. I'm going to leap forward in history to the much more recent 1479, when Sir David Guthrie bought the church, or the kirk, from the Abbey of Arbroath. So that's when it became sort of the actual Kirk itself was bought from the Abbey. He had great ambitions for the Kirk and set about improving its status and its look. So much so that the result was that Guthrie became one of the most important parish churches in the country of Scotland. So it was hugely renowned and incredibly important historically. But unfortunately, it did get because of its status, because it'd been built up so brilliantly in its status, it was a real target during Reformation. It became almost to a point of demolishment, really. It was really it became very ruinous. And then with the Scottish climate, you can imagine that it further deteriorated. And in fact, the only part of that original building that is still here with us today is the aisle, which sits alongside the present kirk. But as we're here today to talk about the present church building, I'll move on quickly to that. That building was built in 1826 by the 17th Laird of Guthrie, John Guthrie. He was very keen to outdo his ancestor, so he really turned his attention quite heavily to the improvements of the kirk. Which building it is? I mean, the building that we're talking about is the one in the picture on the top left on the slide. And for those who have been to the kirk, when you first arrive, there's a lovely set of steps that takes you up into what is quite an ancient graveyard. And the first building that you see in front of you is that rather lovely building, which is the kirk that we're talking about now. So it's quite an unpretentious building. It's got a belfry in the ancient Scottish tradition. It's got some beautiful fine stained glass window by William Blair and John Blythe, who are very well renowned for their stained glass, and you can see that on the slide. It's really quite outstanding that it's here in the format that it is today, because a lot of these really lovely rural Scottish churches were left to ruin, and it really is with thanks to the local community, that this church, the Kirk, remains how it is today in such good health. And it really, because it is one of those buildings, unfortunately, that the Church of Scotland, a number of these small churches have gone to ruin. So we are in a very, very fortunate position that we have the opportunity to secure a building that is in good nick, that has been well cared for, well loved by the local community. And, as much as it saddens us that the Church of Scotland have taken the action to sell the Kirk, it does give us the enormous opportunity of obtaining it. So moving on quickly to the sort of where we are today. So the 31st of March this year, the Kirk was closed, had their final service on that day. It is not yet on the open market. It will be shortly, depending on where we land on our fundraising. The Church of Scotland have unofficially agreed to settle the sale for £40,000 to members of the Guthrie family. In order to make that happen, we have started the process of establishing a trust, so the Guthrie Church Foundation. And that should allow us to, I'm very, very positive about this, because I think, it's such a big opportunity. It should allow us to raise the funds, secure the Kirk for future generations. I think important to point out that on the foundation would be, obviously, board of trustees would be set up. That would be made up of immediate family members, representatives of the Guthrie clan, and of course the local community as well. With all these things, it's very, very important that we have the local community supporting everything that we're doing. And to date, they are very supportive. Collectively, we've got this unique opportunity to own part of our heritage. And I think there was a journalist who some time ago said it quite clearly, and I'm just going to quote something that he said, because I thought this was quite nice. Quote, "It is not the mere survival of structures from the remote past that gives places their special charm. It is a way in which the old has been lovingly blended with the new, the way in which succeeding generations have enhanced what was entirely wholesome in the first place." So I think, for me, the dream is to keep Guthrie Kirk within the family and available to both the local and global Guthrie community to celebrate and to learn. It really is a building of significance historically, but more importantly for me, it's a real place for people to meet, to share, to just sort of learn about their history, learn about the family. And this is where so it isn't just about the building, it's about, building a Guthrie visitors centre so that we have somewhere to meet and somewhere where we can store all of our stories.
As Arabella said, the remaining part of the church that is still standing from the original time is the Guthrie Aisle. So for those who have been, it is the small building on the right-hand side of the main Kirk, built in 1479, and it was refurbished in 1881 by Jane Guthrie. And if you can see here, obviously you can't see the details, that's her grave, which is inside the actual Kirk. The aisle. But this particular building is highly significant because it's protected by Scottish law. It's a Scottish heritage monument, and inside you can see, I've not managed to show a really good photo, I'm sorry, but inside you'll see these arched oak beams, and there used to be some amazing paintings up there of the Day of Judgment, or it was also known as the Day of Doom, and the crucifixion of Christ. And it is actually the only eldest surviving paintings that our great grandfather had moved from the Isle into the castle, and then he had the foresight to have it moved into the Museum of Scotland in Edinburgh. So if you ever go to Edinburgh, as my mother keeps telling me, we must go and check it out, because there's also an ancient bell that is also in the museum, so you can see this amazing artwork there. Another thing just to note as you go in, so this is from the other side, this picture here, you'll see the ancient font. Oops, and the top stone here is thought to be the original stone from the aisle, and below here the stand for it is actually Victorian. The hideous bench on the side is people have been storing things in there, so we need to make sure that we keep it restored and healthy without people putting things in. On the right here, you can see this is an ancient 17th century headstone. There are graves in there of Guthrie ancestors and stories in there. There's a plaque in there put up in honour of our great grandfather, put a plaque up there in honour of his brother who died in the Great War. So there's a lot of history in there, and what we see as we want to maintain our history and create the Guthrie Foundation, which we'll talk about more. But having the clan being able to visit the Isle, it would be part of that. It is owned by the family, and that will remain as such. But what we're hoping is that people can still see it and visit and know that this is part of your history, and our ancestors are buried there. The latest thing that we've recently had done is I organised to get a structural survey undertaken, and they were really impressed at the condition of the aisle. We were actually worried that bits of it might be falling apart, like the oak beams, but actually there is some rot there, but it can be fixed, and we can get some stone fixes that needs to be done. And I'm hoping we might be able to get the Heritage Scotland to help pay for that. But the main thing is that this is an incredibly important part of our history that is still remaining from many centuries ago. And we're as a family looking at how we can get this looked after and maintained. But it's a very exciting part of the history that we would hopefully be able to share with any Guthries from the clan who would be visiting. The Kirk would be a place that we would hope we could continue to worship in and have maybe weddings and funerals, as well as having it a place of history where we can visit as the clan. And ultimately, as Bree said, it's about keeping our history alive for future generations, and to make this a success we need your help. So thank you for being here today, and thank you from all of us for taking part and showing an interest in our history.
I think it's really important to preserve the history and the legacy of the Kirk so that future generations of Guthries can share in it. The Guthrie Center and myself personally fully support the Kirk initiative.
The danger is that we could lose it totally to someone, developing it. Guthries, time after time after time, have faced threats head on, sometimes been quite bullish about how they do so. But, I think this is another opportunity for us to face a threat head on and come out the other end of it in a good, positive way, with something really wonderful to pass on forever to generations to come. I mean, it's a sort of once in a lifetime opportunity really for us to do this and to keep it safe for the future.
Really, the preservation of the Guthrie Kirk is not just about saving bricks and mortar and the physical structure. It's more about honoring our ancestors and preserving our heritage and fostering a sense of pride, and that really belongs with all of us, right?
Who is the current owner of the Kirk, and what is the status on the sale? The Church of Scotland currently owns the Kirk. The Kirk was closed on March 31st, 2024. The family of the clan chief has been in contact with the Church of Scotland to express interest in purchasing the Kirk before it is listed on the open market. Is there a potential buyer for the Kirk? The Church of Scotland is working directly with the Guthrie family before listing the Kirk on the open market. Clan Guthrie USA, in partnership with the family of the Guthrie clan chief, will be establishing the Guthrie Church Foundation to raise funds to purchase and maintain the Kirk. The local community members in the town of Guthrie are supportive of the Guthrie Church Foundation purchasing the Kirk. What is the target goal to raise for this fundraising campaign? $300,000 in total is the fundraising goal. This would allow for the foundation to purchase and provide ongoing maintenance of the Kirk, and would also allow the Guthrie Church Foundation to own and operate the community center and the car park immediately behind the Guthrie Kirk. What is the cost for the Kirk by itself? The Guthrie Kirk is being sold for £40,000, which equals $49,948 in US dollars. There are additional costs, including legal, closing, administrative, and ongoing maintenance. So the total estimated cost for the purchase and maintenance of the Kirk itself is $68,000 US. Why is the foundation also purchasing the community center and car park? The community center and car park would offer additional facilities, including bathrooms, electricity, and running water, along with parking for future events that are held at the Kirk. Our vision is the community center would be turned into the Guthrie Historical Center. It would house artifacts, storyboards, and other important Guthrie historical objects. Is there a timeline for the funds to be raised? Yes. In order to purchase the Kirk and potentially the community center and car park, a large portion of the funds will need to be raised by July 2024, when it is anticipated that the Guthrie Church Foundation will be established.
I think it's worth noting that they've agreed at the moment it's off market, but that's because as soon as it goes on market, it will be available to individuals to put offers in for purchase, and they have at the moment just giving us the opportunity to for now to buy it as a family before it goes on market, so we wouldn't be competing against anyone else. So we do have this sort of unique period of time.
When we make a contribution, will our name be listed somewhere? Yes, the Guthrie Foundation would like to recognize everyone who contributed to this important campaign. A book will be housed at the church for those who donated. It is our hope that when purchased, we will also recognize those special donors who donated over $1,000 US with a special plaque on the wall of the church. What will happen to the donated funds if the amount of money needed is not raised? If the amount of funds needed are not fully raised, donors will have the option of having their donation refunded, minus fees incurred, or transferring the donation to Clan Guthrie USA. A donation to Clan Guthrie USA funds the mission of the organization to preserve, protect, and share our Guthrie family cultural heritage through things such as ancestry research, participation in the Highland Games, Guthrie gatherings, newsletters, and the establishment of the Harry L. Guthrie Scottish Arts and Education Fund.
I just want to say I'm so grateful for everybody who's stepped up and donated and really asked what they can do and been part of this. And I mean, if as Guthries, we're going to make this, we're going to succeed or we're going to fail altogether. And I don't see failure as an option. So we need everybody to get out there and donate what they can.
Can I just say, I've just seen the amount that's already been raised. I mean, from our perspective, that is incredible. Thank you from all of us so much for all you are doing and all you are, the fact you're here is just so amazing. And we're so grateful for the fact that everyone is so keen. And I love your attitude and determination, Breeze, everyone, for all you're doing. So just thank you. It means amazing. It's amazing for all of us.
Look, it gives me chills. I got my hair stand up. I'm just so proud of all the Guthries who come together. I mean, it's a real family.